Hi everyone, it's Lonnie. Welcome back to Grace Blossoms for You. Today I want to show you how I have started making some of my clusters recently. I've really enjoyed learning how to do the whole slow stitching thing, and so what I thought I would do is just give a little not really a demonstration, but just a quick explanation as to what I've been doing. So this is using up my scraps, and so I started with something for the background, and then I layer some fabrics, and I just play with the placement of them, and I don't know, I just keep going until I'm happy with what it looks like, how it's sitting. This one is kind of all rectangles. But what I'm finding is that the more layers you put in, the more interesting it looks. So just keep going. And not everything has to be, building up right in the center. Sometimes I overlap them to go back onto the first piece. And then I was going to put a piece of lace and then use the butterfly as my topper. So that's the one I'm going to sew next when I'm completed the one I'm currently doing. I just wanted to show you how I get them ready. And then when I get ready to sew, I usually try to come up right in the middle to grab the most layers. That way the fabrics don't move too much. And you could do this with paper too, and I could probably have done this on my machine, but I'm just finding that slow stitching is just so much more relaxing than, well, they call it slow stitching for a reason. I think it's supposed to take a while, and I don't know if I'll have a lot of time for it because it does take me a while, but I am enjoying it, so I'm going to keep going. So with this one, I put the black backdrop here, hoping that you could maybe see it a little better than on the square mat I usually have. So this one I have started, and I'm using this light brown thread. It's mercerized cotton, so it's shiny. So while it's not exactly gold, it kind of picks up that indication that there might be some glittery stuff. This is some of the fabric that I stamped with acrylic paint the other day. I'm really liking how this turned out. This had gold and white on the stamp, so that's been fun to work with. And then again, some scraps. And with the sewing here, I did like a seed stitch, which is just basically a stitch going any which way direction, and then I overlap them. So just to give it some interest, to make it look like maybe some sticks, give it a bit of a rough look. And then here I'm going to continue that. So I'm just, whoops, I need to go down because the thread's up top there. So I just have 2 strands, and then I go just beside where I just came down, and then I come up there, and then I kind of overlap where I just did. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. And I think this works really well just to secure everything. And you can just keep going as far as and as long as you want to. Try not to pull the fabric too much unless you're making a cruffle or something. But I just want to now come up this side here. And two, I'm not super careful with this stitch this is one of the faster stitches that I just decided on this morning. I don't know if it has an official name. I'm just basically making a cross stitch, only it's not crossing in the middle as we're used to. So that one I totally didn't get right. That's okay. Not everything works perfectly, and that's part of why I like slow stitching. There's really a lot of room for not exactly mistakes, but it's more relaxed than your typical embroidery. I think it just it really is. It forces you to slow down, because otherwise you'll just be poking yourself with the needle. And yeah, so I will fast forward the rest of this, and then we'll go to the next thing. Okay, so when I'm done with what I want, I'll just finish this off by tying a bit of a knot in the back here. I can't really teach you how to slow stitch or embroider, but I can at least show you what I've been doing. That way you can decide if you want to be interested in pursuing it for yourself. Okay, so there's that. And then I wanted to put the butterfly on, but I feel like it kind of needs something else yet. So would that be another piece of fabric? Maybe some lace. And I took most of my lace upstairs. I have a few pieces left. I know. I was thinking of this piece here, which would be nice as well. It's awfully big. Yeah, it's too overwhelming. Then I found this. The stuff that I also painted with acrylic paint the other day. And it's got some shine in it as well. So, let's see. Oh, found some more scraps. See, it's not always a bad thing to have a messy place. Huh, maybe we need a couple of pieces. I do want to have that, the leaves mostly showing. might be too much. That one's not bad. That one would stand out more, I think, because it's a little darker. And then we would have the contrast there. I think I like that. I'm going to cut it about there. Originally I was going to have this piece, but I think it's too light with the butterfly. It's very small. Unless we did it like a bit of a tail. And then we could still put this here. Maybe we'll put it that way. Hope you can see that. So then I would use still the same brown thread that I was using. So this butterfly is an applique, and it's actually what got me kind of wanting to do sewing, because I saw the trims and I saw the appliques that were done on this backing here, and I can't really make out what that material is. And I know they did this on the machine, but I thought, why can't we do that by hand? If we take the time, we should be able to do that for ourselves. So I still am experimenting with all that stuff. And I might have more to show the next time you see me. Alright, so I'm going to do that. So then I'm going to just thread my needle, and I'll be right back. So again, because I have some overlappage here, I'm going to roughly start at the back. And then I'm just going to do like little stab stitches so that the thread isn't overly obvious here. It doesn't really matter if they show or not. I just not going to make as big a production of these little stitches as I did these over here. And then just kind of go around a few places. Oops, my needle unthreaded. And I think we'll get better with these as we practice, because so far this is my favorite one that I'm making. And two, I think it has to do with the color combinations that we have scraps for or of. And so they're all turning out very different, and I have some other ones that I will show you in a little bit here. Hopefully I'm in frame. I keep remembering that I can't sew so close to me when I'm doing it for the camera here. So this way, and then I mean, I still like glue, and it's not that I'm going to be sewing everything from now on. It's just, I did not expect to find this new joy or happiness at this stage. I thought I was just going to be junk journaling from now on, and then I started with sewing, and then that got me a little more comfortable with the thread, and I was watching or reading Rachel's little blurb there on her YouTube channel, And she mentions that her first love was sewing, and then she discovered junk journaling. And I thought, oh, that's just exactly the opposite of myself. I started with crocheting, and then I found junk journaling, and now I'm embracing the sewing aspect. And of course that can look however you want it to look. It doesn't have to be embroidery. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can just, I've seen fancy slow stitching too, but it doesn't even have to be fancy slow stitching. It can just be whatever you want to make it. And I think that's what I like about it, because it's so versatile. And there's beauty in it, no matter how it comes about, how it's done. So I think that is going to be it. That's all I'm going to put on that one. So I'm just going to tie this off here. I thought, well, we could certainly combine all the things that we've learned. I mean, so far we have incorporated, I think, everything we've learned into our junk journals. And maybe this is just one more aspect to it. I think also this would look really good in like a sewing journal, if you were so inclined to make one. Yeah, so this is the thread I was using. Okay, so that's one I just finished. Like I said, I think I like that one the best, but I will show you some of the other ones. So I think the first one I did was this one, and it has a button. It has one of those embroidery things I made, and I put some lace behind that. Then I put some plastic wrapper. I think it had maybe potatoes in it or something. I'm not sure, but it came from the kitchen. And then there's some green fabric, and then here's some stitching, and it reminds me of this, and maybe that's why I thought of it. And then I have some off pink is the bottom layer, and I got some of that color dyed tulle in here. It's green. And then I've got some burlap ribbon and another piece of fabric. So there's tons of layers in that one, and I really like it. But I think what sets it apart is this part here, just the plastic thing, which to me is surprising, because I wouldn't think that that would go so well with what I was doing. Okay, so then I think this is the second one I made. Again, lots of fabric scraps, some ruffle here, and then some painted fabric, then some lace, and then this is the other embroidered piece that I made. And then I just put some buttons in to go with the colors that were already on here. Then I think I got some of my pieces mixed up. I found this little applique. Well, I didn't find it. I did find it in a piece of material that I wasn't going to use. It was not enough to make a blanket or anything, so I decided I was going to cut out the little animals. And before I got the butterfly out, I was going to put that little duck there. And I haven't really decided how I'm completely going to finish that one. I have a few options. I was thinking of this applique that I bought from the dollar store, but that doesn't really go with the duck. It might go if I put the butterfly down, and then the applique could kind of overlap that. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about that, see which one I like better. But I'll put that all in that pile there. Alright, so then there was this one. This is the fabric that I originally painted on the jelly plate, and I still love it, and I still have some. In fact, I think this is from batch number 2, because I went through batch number 1 really fast. Then there's some denim and, again, lace. More scraps. Here's some stamped paper that I had. I stamped some music on there. And then I added a bulb pin with a button and some laminated lace, just to add a little bit of something different. And so I don't mind that one. It's okay. I think it will find a home somewhere. And then my husband really liked this one, and I gotta say it is different than any of the others. I started with a piece of lace, then I added some scrap fabric with some blue flowers. I had some painted fabric in the back. I added some of that gold leaf black cotton here. And I also added some of the burlap ribbon, some black lace over here. And then I added this flower, which is a rose, and it's wired. And then I just sewed the rose with the wire to this feather. And then I put these buttons on top, just for something different. The red really stands out to me, so I added some red buttons just to give it a bit of, so the flower didn't stand all by itself. I gave it a little bit of company on the page there. So anyways, what do you think of that project? Would you be interested in seeing more? Would you consider making some of these things yourself? How interested are you? The one video I did with some embroidery stuff did pretty well as far as views went, so I was wondering if people might be more receptive to embroidery things than they are maybe even to junk journaling things. Let me know. Do you like the combination? Do you want to see this in a journal? Because that's where they're going, as far as I can tell. It'll probably be different kinds of journals, but journals nonetheless. Anyways, that's what I have for you today, and I hope you've been blessed, and I hope that you like it. And we will see you again next time. Bye for now.